Perfect. I'm going to have Melissa introduce our guest of honor today.
Mo, thank you for joining us. Mo Sadiq is the executive director of WeMake. It's right in Pennington. He's been there for about 4 years.
Yeah.
His background is that he worked with adults in the high school that had autism, and then he went to Eden Autism Services and helped adults be able to get jobs and learn life skills and kind of revamp their program there, and did a great job where I met him. And today he's here to talk about WeMake and how you work with people that have disabilities and how it's a part of the fiber of what you do there in Pennington. Can you tell us a little bit about WeMake and the inception and how the whole organization got started in helping people with disabilities?
Absolutely. WeMake is the brainchild of our founder, Tony Lazinski. He's a father and a parent, and as parents, you guys were all talking about it. You do, and you want to steward a good future for your child. And for parents of children with autism, it's a different road to hoe. A lot of them, there's barriers that and there's barriers that you don't see. So I think for Tony, his son was aging out of the school system, leaving that Department of Ed, and that's the moment you realize all in the structure of what that encompasses, and you have to recreate that. And when he was looking at options of what's available within the community, there wasn't a whole lot that satisfied what he was looking for. A quality life that supports the whole person, that's engaging them, that's growing them. Being an entrepreneur, a businessman, and somebody with good muster and ideas, he said, well, let's create WeMake. And, we thought him brainchild and thought about it for some time. And he was a 2017 entrepreneur, Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year.
That's great. Congratulations to him.
Yeah.
That's an amazing accomplishment.
An amazing compliment, amazing man. And I got an opportunity to steward a ship that leads innovation for reducing the barriers to employment, reducing the barriers to quality of life. As parents, you guys were all sharing your stories, giving foresight for parents that have children with autism, something to look forward to, the hope. A lot of times I always say, juniors, seniors, parents are thinking they're going to go to this college, they're going to go to this, they're going to be this, you're going to be a doctor, you're going to play for the Yankees, you're going to, we have these hopes and dreams. And for some of the families that we serve, that dream wasn't always clear. You don't always know, which I think for parents, when you don't know, that's when anxiety and that angst of what do I need to do to make this work? How do I make this work? So WeMake set off to be a social enterprise, something that can be a support and a vessel for all members in the community, but not just persons with autism, the school community, the service provider community, all the different resources that support and supply and aid families. So we wanted to be the vessel for that. And I think we think about what's a full day for us. It's work, and WeMake wanted to be that first conduit and give that opportunity to employment, which fills your day. And once you have employment, that's your conduit to friends, your conduit to community, your conduit to just being able to control and be autonomous within your life. So that's how WeMake started, and we're 4 years young this November. So
congratulations!
Job's not done yet. Job's not done yet. We're still moving forward.
So I have a few facts here. We have 1.5 million people with autism. And the fascinating thing is that 1 in 68 US children has autism. But the beautiful thing I like is something that comes from your website, who is a place to go and grow. The goal is to give adults with autism a new sense of pride and purpose, to foster a real career instead of simply offering jobs, and to produce the kind of goods everyone can feel generally good about. And I thought this was very powerful because we always think about young kids, before the age of coming into the workplace. But really, WeMake is very special about that they really pick it up to the moment where people drop it. So tell us a little bit, like which kind of jobs, you provide.
So the jobs we want a ton of variety. We want stuff that we can build a skill set on, and we can teach, and we can teach a group of persons to learn these jobs. So it's assembly, it's OEM manufacturing, it's kitting jobs, it's e-commerce fulfillment, it's warehouse inventory tracking. Within every single one of those jobs, we break them down to their simplest form, and in one job, there may be 7 or 8 jobs. We make it one step at a time. But jobs that we can teach a curriculum to, that they can learn, that's not going to go away in 2 weeks. We have some jobs we want to paint the bridge. So a job that's bottomless, that's going to allow our kids to thrive and grow and build some numbers. And at the other end, there's a company that's getting a quality product, that's being able to say that they work with an inclusive model, that they've thought different, they're doing different, and their customers are receptive to that. So that's the cyclical effect that they can bring work to us. Our kids and adults that work at our program can, learn a skill set, apply those academics that they've learned through the school system. But it's work. But within work, and you work in a team, there's social aspects. You have to learn how to interact with your coworkers, how to interact with your superiors and your vendors, and WeMake is all of that. It's exactly careers. I like to say it's industry inclusion, as opposed to community inclusion. It's that too. It allows all of our employees to have no glass ceilings. Our floor supervisor started as an intern. 2 years later, he's a consistent ability to think outside himself, and we're a family. And he looks and he learns from all of them individuals, and he stewards them along that process. And I think that's the best story we can tell, is that you can start in one place and you can end in another, and to have a full journey at WeMake. And if that takes you someplace else, great, and that's awesome. And we will see you in a couple of years, because I will tap into those individuals.
Yeah.
But
alumni.
Yeah.
Those alumni stories, which is amazing to see their growth. Right?
So I love the culture of WeMake, meaning not only you give them the tools to be able to find themselves into building up a career, but you also, the culture behind it, like you give them space to play. And I even saw that they are doing yoga.
Yes. We think about, I think about, you think large, we think big, you think Google, what are they doing? You think about, how do you support your employees to have a quality work day? That's a part of our enrichment program. So there's a nice balance. We want work to not feel like work. So you come into our 20,000 square foot facility, it looks like Big's room from the movie Big. It's half play, it's half work. On this side, you see all of our employees working together, working in unison, building great products. But then, with no alarm or bell or anything that's a signal, you see them go and socialize with one another. They play ping pong, they play pool, they do yoga, they have music therapy, art therapy. We have an arcade. They have an abundance of snacks and little different things that allow them to know that, hey, work is really great. And I always say the best thing about WeMake is our Fridays are our Mondays, and our Mondays are our Fridays. Just last week, we had a young lady, her family was getting ready to go down the beach, and she's in tears, and she says, I just want to go to work. And I said, well, and you know what we do is we're saying, no, it's important. We be with your family, go to the beach. I wish someone would push me to the beach.
Yes, we all need a vacation.
Yes.
Mo, how has COVID affected the employees that have autism? Because obviously change is something that's very difficult within the community. So how did you pivot with the work that you're doing? Manufacturing obviously is backed up with, the supply. How did you pivot with the employees with disabilities working from home or remote, and kind of tell us how that affected the business?
Well, COVID hit everyone the same. It was a harsh reality of things we didn't see, and it was a trying time for everyone. So within that, we shut down for about 8 weeks, but we retooled and we put our heads together, and we said, for the group that we serve, routine is so key. And our, there's a long journey that they've come to get to that independence and that routine. So how do we keep that going? So we retooled, we readjusted our space, work with our vendors, told them just give us a moment, be patient, and we retooled, and we were able to open back up 8 weeks later.
It's amazing.
With social distancing, all the schools were able to come, and in the state of New Jersey, we were the only facility through COVID that serves the autism populace that was up and running, and we were hiring at 1.5 a month. So,
Wow.
I mean,
Amazing.
and we've stayed on that pace. So I think what we did, we thought different. How do we bring those individuals into our space? How do we keep routine? How do we keep some type of normalcy within life for parents and our individuals? I always say we serve our employees, but we also serve the families that support them. It's a village. So, you know, any reprieve we can give to parents, any rhythmic and routine we can give to those we serve is uberly important. And even those that, you know, maybe they have a compromised immune system, or they have a family member, or that does, and, you know, maybe there's a general hesitation to work. So we got.
Oh, for Joan.
Okay.
Wait. Esther, you can ask.
Oh yeah.
It's for Joan.
So I'm going to ask the question. You have this energy.
She has a magic energy.
Anything that has her name, she gets the point. Anyway. So Dr. Joan, what is the one thing that made you stand out?
The one thing that makes me stand out, I think it's my personality, because it's so big and broad, and, you know, and then my hair is next because it's so crazy and wide.
I love it. It's beautiful.
So I think it's a combination of my personality and just, you know, I love being my authentic self, and I'm learning more and more every day how to just go out there and do that. So
You're
doing it well.
You're very passionate too.
Yes.
You're very passionate about whatever you're doing.
Yes.
So.
That's
That's exciting.
That's for sure.
Great
And
question.
if you have not followed Dr. Joan, her handle on Instagram is Let Me Be Me NJ, and she's doing a fantastic job. Every Saturday you can see her with her lifestyle.
Yes.
And she's fun, and it really uplifts you. So go ahead and tag her today. So
All right.
let's
So
see.
now, Dr. Joan.
I'm gonna switch sides.
Okay, this question is for Gabby.
Ooh.
What is the meaning of the GAB?
All right, so that's fun.
It is.
So the GAB was actually made by our marketing team. As you know, the GAB is our pilot show for the Princeton TV. And the GAB was created after many conversations. And who doesn't have the gift of GAB?
The gift of GAB.
This is going to be our
Exactly. That is our sign. And
Or
we're all
jazz
picked
hands.
because- But we give each other our own space too, right? So we're very polite about
That's
not gabbing
true.
over somebody else.
Yeah, yes. So absolutely. So the GAB is actually is basically the gift of GAB. But the show is really oriented for you, the viewer out there. And your participation is what is going to really make this show a unique and exceptional experience, not only for us, but for you as well. So that is what the GAB, and it's all about real talk. So we want to support our community. We want to talk about real things that is happening into our community, and to just gab about it. That's it.
That's the GAB.
GAB.
All right.
The loyalty of your customers, your customer base that you already had, did they come through during COVID? Was there a lot of loyalty in the customer base of people coming on a regular basis that supported you over the years?
Yeah, but it was because we were limited to 40 people,
Right.
40 orders a day, that we have a lot more customers than 40. And so, you know, we were booked for weeks out, but because of the limitations of what we could do, they were limited in what they could do as well. So one of the ways that it played out is, and this is where the whole thing gets weird in the beginning, that our loyal customers would give big tips.
Yes, I noticed that.
And those
Even
tips,
with myself.
yeah.
Yes.
And so with the instruction of, can you please help the people that are sitting at home? And so for the first 6 weeks before the government money came, that made sense, but it became a little tricky as an employer. How do you do that? Do you give $5 to all of everybody at home,
else,
which is doesn't make a difference?
And what about the people who are there working?
Right.
You know, actually,
They
at
could be
that
making
point,
less
you
at
didn't
that
know how
point.
much risk they were taking on by actually coming in to work. And we're a face-to-face business. So still people would come in the door and be like, I just want to get that thing over there.
Yeah.
Be like, could you put your mask on?
So even that was tricky, where the people that wanted to help, it wasn't clear how they could. I mean, if somebody gave $100, it wasn't so easy to go, oh, here's $100 for such and such. And is it the people that are at work, or is it the people that are at home? And
well, most definitely, I will think that you first cater to the people working with you, and because obviously in that case, the people that were at home had those supplemental income. So, and the people that were working, they were working maybe even two shift or whatever. So I suppose you were more inclined to first take care of home base as.
Yeah, and so that was the initial, but there was 6 or 8 weeks of unclear before everything kicked in, and that really was the time, what emotionally as well as economically, how it all was going to fit together.
So you have a question.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I had 2, so I could get it in real quick. Did you guys get the PPE loan, and what do you think about people who got it and misused it? And my second question is, the numbers are spiking again. Are you ready in case this happens again? Like, what are your plans in case they say shut everything down again? What procedures or steps are you taking in case that happens again?
So I'll take the second question first. There's no turning back. I think we all know what we are supposed to do. The numbers are spiking, but I personally don't think they're going to get, and they will get anywhere near what they were before. And our fear level is so much lower because we have access to a vaccine, and it's more, I think people who are taking risk by not getting vaccinated they understand what they're getting into, and they will come shop. And, we in New Jersey are able to say, you must wear a mask in our store, else you can't shop here. So we can put safeguards in place. And we also, there's so many new things on the market. We have a air purifier for the market that atomizes hydrogen and kills bugs and kills COVID. So we have that running all of the time. I feel very confident and very safe shopping in my store, or being in my store all day. So I don't think there's any going back. So you can answer the other question.
Well, and we know a lot more about it now. In the beginning, that also was a real challenge. Should we wear a mask? Should we not wear a mask? It initially was you had to have an N95 and you had to be 6 feet apart, and then that changed to just a regular mask and 3 feet apart, and so that was a big challenge. So the PPP, we did get the PPP, and
in the second round, you can imagine the time between the first round and the second round. We're like,
the banks were
So
overwhelmed by all of
I don't
that.
know if you remember, but the amount of money that they put aside for the PPP ran out within a few days.
Yes.
And it was so hard to get it. It was
And
like so hard to get it.
Right,
You need to be on the computer every
they
5
were told-
seconds.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so the banks were the ones that were administering it, and it's supposed to be a couple pages long, and it should only take you a little bit of time. Ours was 1,000 pages.
Wow.
We did it for 4 businesses. So
Yes.
it was, they asked for 250 pages per, and they just kept asking for information. Then they're like, oh, it ran out.
Oh, God.
And
As you're in process,
As you're in the process.
Exactly.
And
So how did you recover from that?
well, and I would say that was the biggest issue with the government programs, is there was no clarity, right? And so they kept saying, oh, we'll give you money, so keep everybody employed.
Right.
As it was hundreds of thousands of dollars that we were. So the PPP helped us. Without getting the PPP, we would have been in real trouble, and that got us to the point where it was about a break even for the first couple months, but then it all it covered was the first couple months.
Exactly. You couldn't lay anybody off during that time period. So that was the tough part. Yeah.
Right.
So you had to get forgiveness, but if you started laying people off because the business model went down past that loan amount, and that's where you have to weigh out those options, whether you're going to do the second phase of it and where you're going to be.
Where it's coming,
where it's coming from. So what have you learned, and how is your business doing now compared to during COVID? And what do you see for the future? What things have you implemented during the pandemic that you're using now that you think is going to be successful in your overall business strategies?
So getting back online and having people come into the store, I mean, personally, from a personal standpoint, I learned that I just love having people in the store, and and that we need to be around each other. We need to be around other people we don't agree with. We need to be around people we do agree with. Just we need that connection.
Other people's input. Absolutely.
But the thing that I found was that we have people who are incredibly resilient, the people who worked for us, and they're worth their weight in gold. And also that the customer isn't always right. I mean, we really, when we were allowed to bring people back into the store, I mean, there was just so much targeting, people just coming in and wanting to make a stink about the mask. And it's like, we survived. Can't you just follow the directions? I mean,
it's your choice as a business owner to be able to implement those mandates, and that's really important.
But I like also the way that now things have shifted, and you have a choice. You do have a choice to go into a store. You don't feel very comfortable. You can put your mask on. Yeah. If you're vaccinated, you can go with the mask, without the mask. I think we have arrived to a level where now we can move forward, and this is where I'm going to bring you right now, is moving forward. So where are you now? What are the situation of hiring people and the difficulty? Because in the pay has raised up. Yeah. Okay, you don't have you have lost a lot of income. So where are you with that?
Yeah, so that, getting to what we've learned and how the business moves forward, we are very far from normal at this point as a country. And it is very difficult to hire employees. And there's probably, I could probably, guess why that exists. I mean, there are some obvious reasons why that exists, some of which is a shift from people wanted to do something different. They were tired of what they were doing, and the pandemic sort of opened their eyes to, I don't want to be in an office anymore. And the government,
it was a lot of switch into career. Like it was a humongous amount of people switching career, learn new things, reinventing themselves. It was like amazing. But
that is true with the food industry too. I think a lot of people said, you know what, I don't want to be in the food industry anymore. And so there's this shift going on. But the problem is that we've had wage inflation, that we're paying people more, and that we can't change, right? You can't. We've raised somebody's salary or hourly pay. We can't go back to what it was. And you now have people applying for a job saying, I used to make $35 an hour, so I have to make at least $35 an hour. But you don't know anything about our business, and so that has been very difficult. Not to mention, there just hasn't been a lot of people applying yet.
Wow.
Although I will say, like when we were looking for farmhands, and I had posted on Indeed, and I had put the feelers out there, nothing for 4 weeks, and then as soon as the rent protection ended, I think we got 8 people right away that were qualified for us to conduct an interview. So there is some power in drawing back those protections. It's needed. There's job upon job upon job.
Have you had to shift the hours? Because I noticed the other week when I was trying to go to a restaurant on a Monday, most restaurants now in this area are closed on Mondays and Tuesdays. And then Tuesday for dinner, they open up. Have you been open 5 days a week or 7 days a week, or did you have to shift that as well because of the lack of employees that can work? Where do you stand with that in staffing?
We've been okay. So we haven't shifted the market. Actually, we shifted it. We opened an hour later, but otherwise we're open the same days that we were.
Great. Congratulations.
But we are lucky.
Yeah, that's fair. I noticed in this area. Yes, it's a trend.
Yes, people are open.
Bring your lunch on Mondays, everyone.
They still close on Monday. If you want to go to the Brick Tavern, not on Monday.
But we've never been open on Monday.
But you've never been
at the Tavern.
Bring your lunch on Mondays, right?
And I guess how's that been with sort of building relationships with other entrepreneurs or restaurateurs? Like, have you felt like you've gotten closer with others in terms of being able to lean on each other in terms of advice? Or...
I think in terms of sharing information, yes, but and you're more involved in that than I am, but definitely each company has been kind of in its little silo of survival mode,
Mm-hmm.
and everyone's issues are generally the same, but there's like the personal pain that's always individualized, especially when it comes to employees.
Yeah, and we've always had a good relationship with other restaurateurs, but there should be a help group that people get together, a support group to get together and talk about the labor issue, because it's everybody has the same problem.
Welcome back to the GAB. And if you have missed an episode from our back episode, go to our website, cnjn.org, and you can go watch any of the other shows that we have done previously. But right now, we are talking about the shore. The spring is here.
Can't wait.
I
love summer.
Yes.
I love summer.
Gonna put that suntan lotion.
Get that tan.
Well, I don't know about that, but
So we have two people who say tanning, but we want a tan. We want a tan.
So skin cancer is still the number one killer, in question of cancer. So put your SPF.
Yes, we do. We're 30.
That's true.
So I'm going to start with you, Dr. Joan. You have a doctorate in educational leadership, and you are a confidential coach. So when you finish your day with your client, where do you like to go at the shore?
I like to go and relax at Point Pleasant Beach. There they have the pliables.
That's the main thing.
I go for the food, okay?
It's not the shore, it's the food.
It's the food. The food at
It
the
is
shore.
about the
And
food.
also to fight the hot sand to get closer to the shoreline. So
Refreshing. Very
so
refreshing.
that's relaxing. Try to hop to the shoreline and relaxing. And we bring the kids. My son, when he was like 14, what do you want to do for your birthday? I want to go to the shore. So we made it a thing. So we go to the shore on his birthday, which is in July, and we just have a good time. The family playing football in the
Love
sand.
it.
It's just great.
That's
It's a great
great.
time.
That's awesome.
I love it. I love that you go to the shore for the food. Really, I go to the shore to watch the water.
And it was healthy food. It wasn't hot dogs and hamburgers. It was healthy food. Bible.
Melissa, what are you doing after a long day at Dress of Success, running all over? You're dealing with so many emotion and people around you. So how do you disconnect when you go to the shore?
So my favorite beach is Long Beach Island. I went there as a kid, so I have memories with my sisters and my family and the waves, and it's wonderful. We always got a house as children, and then I bought a house at LBI.
Wow.
But right before Sandy, I sold it, which was great, and then it crashed down, so it was perfect timing. So it really was a good choice. I had it for about 6 years, and it was too much, so to have two homes. My daughter didn't really enjoy going every weekend. She was a kid. So I love going to Fantasy Island at Long Beach Island. It's a little amusement park there, and they have ice cream and food, really, really good, like funnel cake and hot dogs, and they have just something for everybody there. And then they have Bay Village, where all the shops are and the restaurants.
I love it.
But the waves are my favorite part. I like going with the kids and jumping in the waves and going under the water. And yes, I do get my hair wet. I know you don't believe that, but I do. And really just enjoying the family. And I do rent a house for 2 weeks every summer at Long Beach Island. And last year I went with my daughter and her friends, actually. So we all went together for a week, and it was lovely to have them go out on their own as they're getting older, and the teenage things that they do as adolescents. But the ice cream, the food, but the waves and the family, being together with family and building those memories, which is really, really important to me.
And it is because I'm discovering all kinds of places in the New Jersey Shore, but Long Beach Island looks to me like you have the quiet section as well as the active section.
You do. It really is. When you go up the island, there's so many different segments. There's Ship Bottom. There, as you go up, it just, Beach Haven. Every probably mile or two, there's another town, and every town has their little restaurants and their little, pop-up shops. It's just so beautiful. So you can go to the first, Beach Haven all the way down the active part and have a totally
different experience than you do in Surf City, which is when you first
Right.
come onto the island to the left. So
Right.
there's something for
Right.
everyone. You can lay quietly, or you can be in the hustle and bustle of everything.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And you also have that always that what do you call it? The light for
The
boats?
lighthouse? Is
The
it-
lighthouse.
the lighthouse. Oh, yes.
The lighthouse. Yes.
There's a lighthouse when you first come onto the
Yeah,
island. There's a
that's
lighthouse there.
that's
It's beautiful.
Very
Yeah.
pictural kind
It
of
is. It's
picture.
nice.
Yes.
Once every couple of years, we climb up to the top, but it's
Ooh.
beautiful.
Yeah.
It's nice. You have to experience at least once, even if you're a shooby when you do it. If you go there actively, it's just worth it.
All right. Esther, you two are a busy lady, but I know you take airplanes, train, car to go anywhere where you
Anywhere.
can go to the shore.
Chica. So when my kids were younger, I used to go to Ocean Grove all the time and
yeah.
rent house there and stay there. But recently I found the Stone Harbor.
Oh, I like
Right.
Stone Harbor.
Where is it
Real.
exactly?
It's right before Cape May.
Oh,
Oh my God. It's
Oh.
it's like a beach at a movie.
really?
It's so beautiful. It's so elegant. It's just there's no boardwalks, there's no playables. Sorry, there are no gaming.
A lot of
nothing.
shopping.
But I need to go to the beach to like this brain
Mhm.
talks a lot. Like she is like busy. And
Mhm.
so I need to go to the ocean to look at the sound and just enjoy the ocean. And so that's where I've been going out lately, to the Stone Harbor. And you know that I've taken my children to the beach forever.
Right.
None of them like it.
No.
No, you wore
Oh
them
my
out
God.
from it,
Oh,
maybe.
but
You
you
wore them
know-
out.
Yeah, but my son doesn't like the beach either. You will say, "Oh, let's go to the shore." Yes, can we take the bike, the basketball, everything else except putting your towel on the sand and getting some rays, you know.
So my boyfriend and I are getting a house by the bay because he won. I was like, I like the beach, and he's like, I like the bay, and he goes, I like the
Oh.
beach. So we're buying a house at the bay, but we're gonna be close to LBI. So I'm
Oh,
excited
where?
about exploring LBI.
And Stone
so I'll
Harbor
meet
and
you there.
Avalon is so nice. You're right; it's so elegant
It's so
there, and it's so relaxing, and it just
know.
feels like out of a movie. Like you said, everyone's
town.
beautiful. The town is great. It just
Restaurant.
seems so picturesque.
It is. It
Mhm.
is.
Great.
It is.
It's a great
So-
town.
Mhm. Well, my favorite. Well, first of all, when I came to this country, I lived in south of France, where actually, where actually, during your break for lunch, that's what you do. You take
at lunch.
an hour
Oh.
lunch break, and you go to
To the beach.
the beach.
Very
Nice.
normal, and you
Yeah.
come back to work.
I want that life.
No,
Yeah.
No, not a cubicle.
No. So basically, really, the sea is part of the town and the shops and everything. So I love Cape May because it makes me a little bit remember of that
it's
feeling.
beautiful, Kate.
Where you have the Victorian house and you can
Ah.
stroll with your bike,
Beautiful.
and then in the
Yes.
back you have all those restaurants where
Yeah.
you can walk, but
Very
then
quaint.
very quaint, very nice. But I might change my mind
Yeah.
and go to
Stone
Stone Harbor. You would
Let's
like it.
meet
It's
there.
similar.
Yeah,
It's
let's
similar.
have a
Welcome.
cocktail there.
Oh my God.
And then
That's
come to
right.
LBI. Come to LBI to visit me
That's right.
in
that's
August.
right.
Come see me in LBI.
Yeah,
I would love
and
to
it might
visit.
be a little bit easier, I think, to go to LBI than to go to Stone Harbor.
Yeah, we'll
than
have to
go all the way
go
to Cape
see.
May.
Yeah, we'll have
Right.
to go see Melissa because she'll kill us if we don't. But
Right.
Very true.
but then one day we'll go to Stone Harbor. as a
But what's
group.
interesting, we're so
Yeah.
close to
We're
the
so-
beaches
I
here. Like some
know.
of the beaches, Belmar, Spring Lake, the ones we talk about, they're like 40 minutes from here. So the one
Right,
Stone
like
Harbor
Point
and
Pleasant.
Avalon
It's like
it's like 2 hours. I'm like, Esther, you're going for it. But it's different than what we've seen all these
Yeah,
years.
that's
Yeah.
right.
So
It's a different
it
experience.
is a totally different
But
area.
it is true that you can easily take your car in 45 minutes, go to Point Pleasant,
Mhm.
have some good food, and as many little places.
Belmar.
right
When
there.
you're younger, Belmar was the place to go,
Belmar,
right?
Yeah. So the shore, and this is also what New Jersey is all about.
It
Because
is.
if you see, you have the shore, then you have the farm, then you have the mountains, and you can. All right, welcome back here at the GAB Real Talk, Real Insight. I'm Gabby Johnson, and here is the crew, and we are back with our guest Jenna Clark. Dr. Joan, would you like to present Jenna?
Well, Jenna is a teacher, she's a mom, she is a scout volunteer, and she does Odyssey of the Mind, and she is here. She's a former educator also, and she's raising a teen daughter in 2021. What is that like, Jenna?
Oh, my goodness. I listened to everything you ladies had to say, and all I could do was,
Absolutely.
I think that all of the questions were, very thought invoking, and some of them I hadn't even thought about before. But my daughter is 13 and a half, and she's a wonderful young lady. She is an Irish dancer. She loves horses. She does horseback riding. I knew that when I had late life children, so I'm older, they never hesitate to remind me of that. But,
Tell me about it.
and especially her twin brother, he's all over me about that. But I knew that I have an older son. He's an adult. And I knew that when these children were coming into the world, I needed to be sure that I understood that they were separate and apart from me, because I really had a very close relationship with my older son. And I think we were a little bit too, I was a little helicopter-y. He had some anxieties, and, getting him off the ground was a little bit of a challenge. And when I heard that I was having a girl, baby A was a girl, I said, please, Lord, not two girls, please, Lord, not two girls. Because I know the challenges of raising young ladies. It's very scary. And I made the commitment to keep them in the church with close relationships with children with whom they could grow and, discover themselves all together. So right now, they're in the older youth group, and they have a very close knit of friends they spend a lot of time with. And I let them go on the retreats. There's strict rules, etc. But with regard to my daughter, she's very different from me. I'm more outgoing, and I'm more assertive. Some would say a little aggressive. She's very quiet. She's very sensitive, and she's soft-spoken, and sometimes I think she doesn't get me, and I know sometimes I don't get her. And when you were all talking about dialogue, the only thing that I could think was sometimes the dialogues don't match.
Right. The styles.
Because there's a different and distinct human being there outside of me. I might have created her, but she's different and distinct. And I think that I was in an advantage situation, having been through interactions with thousands of children over the 32 years I was in education, but also now and I was in early childhood, but now the children are older with whom I, engage in conversation. Odyssey team they're all middle schoolers. So are the scouts, they're middle school and high schoolers. And that has forced me to try to understand that mindset in this day and age, My daughter my children lost their father. All three of them, their dad passed away about 2.5 years ago. And that was a struggle. And I didn't know what to do for her.
So this is a good point. Is effectively suddenly your life has pivoted, and now already we see the pattern that is a differentiation between the boy and the girl. But now that you are a parent that needs to be the mom and the dad, what was the biggest change you saw at that moment?
I think, you were talking about depression before. And though I don't believe my daughter to be anywhere near, suicidal, I do believe that there was a depression that set in. First, it was a deep sadness.
Of course.
And because her two brothers handled it so differently, and we're so different, that I felt she had no one to really reach out to. And one night I heard her sobbing,
Oh.
And her older brother went in to console her, and I walked in and said, what's the matter? And he turned and said, she's crying about daddy. And I said, oh, and I didn't even know what to say. And at that point I thought, I don't think there's anything to say. I just need to hold her right now.
Right.
But at some point I had to have that conversation. And because she's so sensitive, when she starts to talk about things that are important to her, she starts to cry. And
she's getting it out, so that's important.
but then she'll close up because she thinks crying isn't okay while she's having a dialogue. And that might come from school. I don't know. It doesn't come from our family. So that influence is very strong. But I have found that the more I support her passion, I think passion in a child's life, something that they're really interested in, something that they would do anything to get to, like she'll do anything to get to her horseback riding. The more I support that, the more I see her begin to blossom. And she even reached out to do some volunteer work there.
That's wonderful. Horseback riding is very therapeutic. My daughter rides as well, and it's soothing to just do the grooming and to be in the stalls and have
She
other
loves
kids and
it.
just relax. And the riding itself is so exhilarating. So it's really strong to build confidence and posture in the girls that are riding. And whether it's competition or it's just for leisure, it's a wonderful thing for
It
her to have
really
in her
is.
life that she can have for years. And it's unusual too. It's a great gift that you've given her.
And that's just something she adores. And she's also an Irish dancer, like I said, and she has had a lot of success with that. But lately I have found, now that she's coming into her womanhood and she's beginning to, the brain changes, you know.
That's
I was talking to my godmother, who is also my cousin once removed, who is a licensed clinical social worker. And I said, could you talk to her, please? Just, and see what's going on. So she did, and we had a conversation. And we agreed that my daughter needed to probably go and see a therapist. It took me quite a while to find someone who I could trust.
That's
I didn't want to, though we're Christian, I didn't want a Christian counselor because I'm not about legalism. I didn't need that kind of influence on my daughter. But I remember that when I had gone through a concussion period, I had a counselor who I absolutely adored, who actually started as a school counselor. So I contacted him, and she's been seeing him, and the changes.
That's great to hear.
She's beginning to open up. She's been talking about her dad. She'll have conversation with me. So we can't be afraid of a stigma, because there really is no stigma in you stepping out and helping yourself.
Right. And talking to someone else that can reinforce what you're teaching at home, and maybe she can communicate it a little differently to someone that she doesn't know but knows is a trusted source that has her
And most
best
of the
interest.
time, the stigma comes from, oh, I don't want him looking at my daughter funny. Oh, I don't want him to make her feel bad. But you have to put that aside as parents, because parents realize, I think it's all about a parent sometimes. So to see that you say, listen, I'm going to help my daughter this way, that's awesome, because most of the time they're like, no, I don't want to look at my daughter funny or talking bad about my daughter. Not today, But to do that, when these kids need help, we have to help them as parents.
So the question is how do you encourage a teen out there that might not be into the circumstance of Jenna, because this is pretty heavy, but just general, what will be our word right there to the parents that needs to do the parenting? How do you engage and encourage with your teen?
I would say, don't let other people's opinion affect your job of helping your teen. Talk to the teen. Listen, I want to help you. This is the way I can help you. We could talk to someone, because I don't have all the answer. And I think Esther was saying, be vulnerable, with your kids. Be vulnerable. Show them, I don't know everything.
No, you don't
But
know.
you could I could get somebody who can help us figure this thing out. And if you have the dialogue, there goes that word again, with them, I believe they will listen to you. If you're sincere and you really want to help them, I think they would listen to you. Okay, let's try it. And if not, you keep having the dialogue until they get it. I'm trying to help you.
My son, when he was 14,
he was going through something very similar of feeling depressed, right? For various reasons. And he refused to go to a therapist, refused. And I said, but I don't have the tools. So what we found was a yoga place who did mindfulness for teenagers. Best thing ever.
That's great.
And the
And it
sad,
helped.
not only it helped, but the sad part was that they could not keep up with the list of kids.
They were coming into the
There were
center.
so many
Wow.
kids that they had to do other workshops, but it was a place where he said, "Oh, I'm not the only one."
Yeah.
And he would run in every time he had to go and come back. And I until this day, I have not read that notebook. That's another thing with parents. You can't cross those boundaries.
That's
You
right.
I
gotta
agree,
stop.
100%.
You
And
know,
with the
you-
journals,
Yeah, don't.
absolutely.
Sorry.
No, my son doesn't keep one. My son doesn't keep one, but if he did,
You would have a hard time controlling
Slip over
yourself.
it. Yeah. Oh,
No, you have.
I think that's
Yeah, you have-
sacred. And
That's
they put that
sacred.
yeah, it's very
Yeah.
sacred. They
I
put those
promise.
words down to
I'm so
heal.
glad he
They put
doesn't
those
have
words
one.
down to heal themselves.
It would be challenging for you.
I can't do that
Yeah.
because the therapist will not do
Absolutely.
Yes,
They feel that that's their
absolutely.
sacred
Yeah.
words and they
Yeah.
keep it hidden.
Yeah.
A lot of times they keep it locked. Not that I know anybody that would do that.
So another question: when do you say yes to your teen?
Well, I think that starts very young, and I think you have to establish a household where the precepts and the morals and the expectations are set at a very young age, because you can't change midstream and expect it to work. So from even before they were born, I knew that I wanted them to have a moral foundation. And I have a wonderful non-legalistic church where we go, we don't go, they go to youth group, sometimes they don't.
I like
I don't pressure, I don't force, but they enjoy themselves. And I ask them periodically, does it make you happy to go? And they say, yeah, we want to go, But I think that's really important. That foundation makes all the difference, because kids are not about you, let's reverse, Plus, you need to stay consistent.
Give them something to look forward to, a draw, whether it's sports, whether it's academics, whether it's
And that was the
church,
third
whatever
thing.
it is, to have something that
Passion.
they're passionate about, that they look forward to when they wake up
That's
in the morning.
right.
I want to do this today. I'm excited about the day because I'm going to get through school and I'm going to do well, but then I have something else that I'm interested
That's
in
right.
too. That's that extra draw.
Absolutely.
And if religion is not a big part of the family, which I grew up that way, some families don't have religion as that trifecta part of their tools. But also having those open relationships where there's discussions about curiosity. Because I remember my kid wanting to know, I don't understand this God thing. And so he's agnostic, and I had to respect that. But he goes to youth group, and he's learning and building it, because it was just too complex for his mind, and I had to accept that. So sometimes religion might not be the main, like it was in my home, but maybe in your home, open discussion about the earth and nature, and is there a God or not,
So
whatever you want to
everybody's
discuss.
drawn to
So
something different.
for me, a yes to a teen is that if the question helps you and it's respectful to you and other, then the yes can come.
Oh,
Huh?
yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yes, I was trying to follow. Yes. If yes. Because I grew up legalist, fundamentalist to the nines, and my parents are still like that. But I chose not to do that. And when my three boys say they were agnostic, at first it was like, when you come from that, it's like a shock. It's like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Our entire family is in the religion, everybody's a minister. Anyway, not to derail, but the fact is that some families don't have that piece. It might be another piece that might give them that consistency. It's key also. Whatever your
When you say yes is when they back up the reasons why they're making those decisions. Because that was a question, the initial one. Do you say yes to your child? Right?
yes.
Yes. When they back it up with facts and you feel that
Right.
if it's out of the norm,
It's
what you normally
safe
would
and
accept,
respect.
it's safe. And
Right.
I'm going to a Phillies game and it's not done till 11:30, 12, even though my deadline to come home is 11:30. I'm going to be home later, as long as they talk in advance and
Yes.
tell you about the exceptions that you're going to make, and they have the backing, and you kind of know that there's somewhere
Yeah.
safe. That's when you say the yes. That
Yes.
was the question.
Yeah,
That's when
in
you
those
say
in
yes,
those in
and you
those
trust.
cases, but there's hard ones like
Right,
religion
that's hard decisions,
is important,
always.
Yes.
sexuality is another, and sometimes
Very hard decisions.
different for you. But then at some point you have to say yes.
Well, it might be, TMI, but I had discussions with my daughter about her menstrual cycle
Mm-hmm.
quite a bit.
Mhm.
Periodically we
How
would
it
have a
affects her,
discussion
Mhm.
exactly, and what would happen when it came on, et cetera, et cetera. And I said, come on, we got to go to dance. She's coming down the stairs and she's like, Mom.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, let me get you something. I got her something, and she went straight to dance.
Mhm.
And she handled it like a young
She knew
woman.
it was coming.
So
you
now,
had that open
but
dialogue.
now you have moms or parents, because it could be the reverse situation where the dad has, the single dad, that
Widow.
right, widow dad, then who is not comfortable to deal with that particular question. So then, what would you offer as an alternative?
A single dad, well, if he's a good single dad, he'll rock with it. He'll like, listen, let's Google it. Let's do something.
He'll figure it out.
Find how to figure it
Google
out.
it.
And he'll figure it out.
Good resource
And
always.
if he's like squeamishy or something, he'll have a good girlfriend or a friend
Or a relative.
somebody
Oh,
a
family.
relative that he could call and say, I need your help right now, So I think a single parent could most definitely handle that.
Be involved in all
So,
aspects
yeah.
if they want to educate themselves.
Yeah.
And like you said, Google is a great resource.
Yes,
You can get it
yes,
quick, get the
yes.
answers you need.
Mhm.
I know someone who was a widow who had a little girl, and she was gonna do her, the Catholics do the where they wear the white dress. What is it?
Oh, communion?
Confirmation, something like that.
Confirmation, yeah.
And he had to style her hair, and he had to learn how to do that.
Right?
Figure it out. So there's a lot of dads there with daughters too. I think there are things that I can say as a mom to my boys. I'm a single parent, but I keep a strong relationship with the father, because I think that there's things that the father can teach. So maybe in your case, an uncle, a brother.
Well, their older brother has been
Yeah.
very helpful, especially with his younger brother,
Yes.
who obviously is now,
Entering.
same in that direction. But it's funny though, my older son might be 28 years old, but when he was going through all of that, he was very open with me and had conversations with me about it. I mean, he kept himself private, obviously, but he asked me about those things, and I said, well, it's normal. I've never been through that, why don't you ask your dad?
What's funny? I have two boys, and it's not until they were late bloomers. So I didn't start seeing the girlfriend didn't start happening till 17, 18.
Oh.
But by then I'm like, oh, no. But, at that point, if I had to do the yes, it would be in a good context, because all their lives they weren't doing anything for me to say, oh, no, no.
Right.
And I wanted to ask before I go, you talked about the brain changing at 13.
Mhm.
Yes.
How do you see you handling it when it changes again at 16, 17?
It's your daughter. Good question.
Because there's a lot of pushback at that age.
Yes. They're grown, they know everything.
Like I said, I mean, even if you've changed in midstream because all of a sudden you're confronted, at 13, 14 with these changes, you can still lay some kind of a foundation and say, look, there were things that I did when I was younger that I regret, and I know that sometimes those things are going to happen in your life because you're either in the moment or, you're like, mom doesn't know anything.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that I'm going to love you less.
Right.
So I need to know when you're confronted with these difficult situations. I would never say, no, you can't go to the movies, at 15 with a young boy. But I've told my daughter, and I've told her brother, if you want to go somewhere, I need to meet him first. Ask him to call me or ask him to stop by, or I'll go meet his parents at the house and we'll say hello. That's all I expect. And I've told my son, if you want to start dating, it's respectful to say something to their parents.
Absolutely. What advice would you give to people that are watching about their daughters and some words of wisdom in raising your daughter, since that's what the show's all about today?
I think that dialogue piece is really important. I think constantly keeping that communication open. Yes, it can be difficult if you have completely different communication styles, but that doesn't mean that you don't do it.
Don't let them
right.
shut down.
Don't
Get
let
in
them
there
shut down.
at whatever cost. Get in there and
Absolutely.
communicate.
So thank you
Good advice.
so
Thank you.
Thank you so
Great.
much,
Awesome.
Jenna. That was awesome words from Jenna and the crew. Now, in October is a lot of things happening. And again, one of the things you can do is to help and support the Princeton TV by doing a donation. So go to the Princeton page on the website and you find the link there. However, if you have more questions about the topic of today, then please send them. We'll review them after the show. In October is fun. The foliage are changing, so go out for a walk, pick up a pumpkin, do some fun activity with your kids out there. But remember, always have an open dialogue with your teenager. And I thank you all here.
Thank you.
And we'll see the events going on.
Yes, we have some great events going on, and I believe we're going to put those up on the screen. But the first one that we have is the Y, Shine on Harvest Moon, which is actually tomorrow, which is going to be really exciting. And it's an event for the Y. It's right on Robeson Place, right here in Princeton. There's going to be festivities for the kids. So join in. It's tomorrow, 5:30, Robeson Place, right here at the Y. We also have Art Jam, which is in Palmer Square, and that's going to be a great event. It's to support Homefront, which is a shelter in Ewing and in Trenton as well. And all the proceeds go to their art program, which is great. They're very into doing art, the students there and the people in the shelter. And there's artists from around the county and also throughout the state that are donating, and all the proceeds, again, go to Homefront to help the families in crisis in the shelters here locally. And the last one is Kinder Smile right in Trenton, New Jersey. They have an event that's coming up on November 11th, and it is a comedy event, which you don't see as many lately. So that's something different and interesting, and we all need a little humor in our life. So we're excited about Kinder. It's on November 11th, and they help underserved students and children in the area get better oral care, which is important to everybody, especially people that are uninsured and can't afford it themselves. So they're doing really great work. Those three organizations, they're all filled with fun. And again, pick some pumpkins, do some carving, have some music and art. It's going to be a beautiful fall weekend.
Don't forget your pumpkin latte.
Yes.
That's right.
And I'm going to put a plug in for the Glisten Respect Awards.
Yes, sure
so
do.
That's happening tonight between 8 and 9 p.m. We're going to be featuring Anthony from Queer Eye. We're going to be also honoring Eliza Bird's commitment to the organization as executive director for the past 20 years. Come join us. Normally, this is something that's in person in Los Angeles and New York. We're combining both events. And it's tonight, virtual, between 8 and 9. Glisten Respect
That's
Awards.
exciting.
Awesome.
I'm joining. That sounds really exciting.
I have to
Thank you.
plug in
Yes.
on October 17th between 12 and 3. We're having our first, Let Me Be Me is having its first business expo.
Congratulations.
So if you're in Ewing Township, we're at 5 Graphics Drive in Ewing. Come by, stop and shop. All right.
And Esther, last one.
Big
Go
brother,
ahead.
big sister,
Woo!
October 21st. Gabby and I are the chairs, so we'll be talking a lot about the organization and how fabulous it is helping children who might need someone to support them, whether it's a father figure or you know, maybe an uncle, not so much of a father, but a male representative or a sister that needs someone to talk to and have fun with and just relax. So it's a great organization. I hope that you can come. Autumn Culinaire at the Country Club, Cobblestone in Lawrenceville. Make sure you come. You'll have fun.
That is awesome. That will be on Thursday, October. So next Thursday, correct?
21st.
21st.
6:30.
At 6:30. Now, I remind you, next week, we are back. Thursday at noon, we have a fantastic guest that is presented by Melissa. Talk about it.
Yes, we have Mo that's coming in from WeWork, and it's an organization in Pennington. We're going to talk about how COVID has affected their business, their manufacturing company. But the spin is that they hire a lot of individuals with disabilities, and it's Disabilities Month. So we want to really focus on giving life skills to people that are in need and having them contribute to the community, which is really key for them to have a long lifestyle. And they hire many people, and Mo is the executive director there and has been there for quite a few years, and they're doing fantastic work in the community, getting everybody involved. So we can't wait to have him as our guest.
So thank you for joining us next Thursday at noon. Thank you for all the viewers that have engaged. Remember, join us, engage, partake, watch, share, and support Princeton TV. Thank you all.